Namaskar, good morning dear learners. We are from the School of Social Sciences. We welcome you to this session of the teleconference, and I am from the Faculty of Library and Information Science, and the topic that I am going to take up today is a very important topic for our students of the Postgraduate Diploma in Library Automation and Networking (PGD-LAN) and the Masters of Library and Information Science (MLIS). We will be discussing the project that we have to do in both the programs. You all know that you have one of the courses in PGD-LAN, it is MLIP 008, and in MLIS it is MLIP 002. So this is one of the courses that you are having for 100 marks, and you have to devote a full 4 credits, 120 hours of study for this particular course. Why we chose this particular topic today? Because we have seen that we have introduced in PGD-LAN for the last 2 years and MLIS for the last 1 year. We are in the 3rd year for PGD-LAN and the 2nd year for MLIS when this project has been introduced. We have seen that our students, learners are finding little difficult to present and do this project. There are certain areas which need guidelines from us, and though we have already given it in the form of the project guide as well as the lab manual that we have given to the PGD-LAN students, but still we thought it is appropriate to devote one session to the project. Today we will be discussing each and every aspect that concerns the project, right from visualizing the project. In fact, if we go a little back, right from discussing why we have this project now, to visualizing this project and planning and conducting and finally presenting the project report. So we'll be discussing all these different aspects. We'll be also cautioning you about certain things that you have to keep in mind while doing a project. So I will try to see that each and every aspect is clarified. Also, I'll keep in mind while we review your synopsis as well as project reports, we find there are certain things that need to be strengthened. There are certain areas where we feel that our learners really fall short. So we will see to it today that we are able to clarify most of these points, most of these areas where we need you to do, where we feel that you should do better. So before coming on to it, as I have been telling you earlier, I show you in this particular slide that this particular course, that is the project, is like any other course that we are having. It is a 4 credit course, and as you have been told earlier also, as for 1 credit you need to devote a 30 hours for studying. For these 4 credits you have to devote 120 hours of study. Why I have given this in the very first slide, I wanted to stress to you that this is a course that requires as much hours of study as any other course. But when we see that you have done the project, when you present the synopsis or the project report, we find that you are not devoting that much of time to it. So this is to remind you that this is just to tell you that this project is as important as any other course that you are doing. So this is for you. Then once you have seen this, once you have known that you have to devote as much time to this, the next very thing that you have to keep in mind before going on for a project is that you need a supervisor for this project. This project that you are going to do, you will not do alone. You will need a guide also who is going to guide you through this project. And it cannot be any person who can be your guide. It has to be some professional who is connected with our discipline, who belongs to our discipline. It has to be such a person. But we have seen while reviewing the synopsis, at times even the guide that people have chosen doesn't come up to our standards, doesn't fulfill the qualifications and experience that we have prescribed, and we have to reject the guide that the learner has proposed. So again, I would make it a point to show you who can be your guide. So if you see this particular slide, I have mentioned here a person who is a PhD in library and information science, or a MTech in computer science, or it can be a BE or BTech in computer science, or MCA or MSc computer science, or MLIS, Masters of Library and Information Science. But if it is these qualifications, the person should have a relevant of 2 years experience. If the person is MLIS, the person could be absorbed in a well-known reputed library and information center, or if the person is a BE, BTech or MCA computer science or MSc computer science, then the person has to have a relevant 2 years experience in IT, but preferably it should be something connected to libraries so that he can really help you. So these are the qualifications that the person should have whom you propose to be your guide. But at the same time, we would like to remind you one thing more. These are the qualifications that have been prescribed, again on the basis of my experience while discussing with the learners about the guides that they have chosen. It is advisable that you choose a guide who is accessible to you, who is with whom you have a rapport, because it is not necessary that you choose from amongst the selected few only, because again I have seen that the learners generally choose from a very few limited people, and we see that the same people are acting as guides. It becomes a burden, overload on the guide also, and on account of this, quality suffers. So it is better you choose a person who is not that overloaded. You choose a person with whom you have a rapport. You choose a person who is accessible to you. It may be even in your vicinity. You are working somewhere, he or she might be working there, or any other such person, because you have to get along well with that person. The person has to be with you throughout your project. So these are very basic things you have to keep in mind while choosing a guide. At times students come to us that, sir, we do not have any person who could guide us. Then also we have to tell them that there are libraries near your workplace or near your residence. You can go to them, talk to those people. But see, again I tell you that if you want to have a good guide, if you want to have a person as your guide, it is always better that you be prepared before really going and requesting the person to be your guide. Generally what is happening these days, that students expect the guide to do everything for them. So that is why when you approach a professional, request the professional to be your guide, generally they express their inability to act as your guide. The reason is very simple. They see that the student does not have has not prepared for it, is not very suitable for them, because people would not like to spend much time on all these. They would just like to act as guides. Therefore it is advisable you work well for your project, you think of your project, you think how you are going to do, how you are going to go about it, have a reasonable idea about your project before you approach the person. It's not necessary that what you have chosen will be accepted, may not be acceptable to that person. So there might be changes here and there, or whatever you have chosen, the person may like it, but would suggest to you some other person who might be interested in that area, and you may approach that person. So that way, this is the first thing, the initiation towards a good project work, that you have to start like this. Generally what happens, students go and approach professionals. They start by requesting that you please give us a title for the project, you please tell us on what area we have to work, what should we do. This is not advisable for the students. It depends on your area of interest. It may not be that a topic that is according to my liking and I thrust upon you, ask you to work on it. It's not advisable. It is better that it is your liking, that you bring with you the project as the proposed project, and the person discusses with you, and it is finally formulated to be worked upon. So this is regarding the supervisor. Now again a little something very basic, because in your BLIS you did not have any idea about this project. So I would like to tell you what is this project basically. If you see this particular slide, I have given here 2 points regarding this. This is application of what you have learned in the different courses of your study, or we can say it is a practical demonstration of your knowledge and skills. So we can conclude that a project is nothing but it is a chance that has been given to you to apply your knowledge and skills, or apply what you have learned in different courses, give it a shape, present it in the form of a model, or you try to show, you try to apply your knowledge and skills in the form of a practical thing. It could be a project, it could be a model. This is what is meant by a project. Now I would like to go on and tell you why we are doing a project. Earlier we did not have a project, we have introduced the project. What is the reason we have introduced the project, the why of it? Again you see I have given 3 points here. It helps to translate your knowledge and skills into reality, giving them a practical shape. You are able to evaluate yourself, and you are able to train yourself for your future pursuits in the profession. I would like to explain a little bit on this, that we say that it is a translation of the knowledge and skills that you have learned, and this translation is put into a tangible product, that is your project. The other is, as we have pointed out, that you are able to evaluate yourself. By evaluation we mean to say that okay, fine, you keep on learning certain things, but when you are giving it a shape, how far you have been able to put all that you have learned in the form of this project. The better you have done it, the better you have learned. So this is what we mean to say when we say that you are able to evaluate yourself. And in the third point we had said that you are able to train yourself for your future pursuits in the profession. See, basically what you are going to learn, this profession that you are into now, this is all that you are learning here. You are finally to put this into practice later on while you enter the active profession. So this is the beginning that you make here in your project. This is basically the first step in which you are entering the profession. So this is again a help. This is again an initiation of you all into your practical profession that you are going to enter later on. We are trying to initiate you into the profession by this project. So this shows the importance of the project that you are doing. See how important it is. This we have to realize, and I would like you to be very seriously handling the project. Right from the very beginning of your induction into the program, you should start thinking of your project. This is so much important. Now I would like to dwell on what are the objectives of the project that you are going to do. We will when we discuss of the objectives, that means where from are we starting, where we are to reach. So these objectives, if we keep in our mind, we will be able to assess ourselves that really the project that we have done, have we really done what was expected of us. So these are the objectives. The project helps us to prepare us to undertake research in future. So if we are to undertake any research, this is a very first step towards that. By doing this project, we prepare ourselves to do real research in the future. This is a sort of a mini research that we are doing. This also helps us to enable us to perceive application of ICT in library and information work and services. See, these days in our profession, in every aspect of the different works and services that we are going to do, we talk of ICT. This has made such an impact on library and information science that there is no area in which we do not think of information and communication technologies. Naturally, because our profession is concerned with information, its processing, its acquisition, its processing, and its communication. So these information and communication technologies have come in a big way and put they have made a real change in the different procedures, processes and services that we were doing. So since we have to deal with them, this project also helps us to really perceive how we can put them into application later on for our professional work. The project also helps us to visualize the services that we have to provide by working in different libraries and information centers. So basically what we are going to do later on in our professional life, when we enter a library or information center, we have to provide services. So again we are preparing you to provide those services. You are getting an idea of what these services will be like, and you may be able to provide some such services by studying these services or making a prototype of these services. So that is another objective of this project. So by now we are clear about certain very basic things about our project. One is that this is a very important part of our curriculum. It is equally important to any other course that we are doing. So naturally we have to divide our time, we have to divide our efforts. In case of PGDLAN it has to be 1/8, and in case of MLIS it has to be 1/6 of the efforts that we are putting, or 1/7 of the efforts that we are putting towards this project. The next, as I told you, is that this project is important because it helps us to put our knowledge into the tangible product or service that we are going to serve to our users later on when we are actively involved in professional work. We also have now seen what is a project. Now I will come to the how of a project, how to go about a project. And if you see this particular slide, I have summarized the how of the project. We will be discussing each of these in detail. Regarding the how, it starts with, first of all, we have to think of a topic. Once we have thought of a topic, then we formulate a proposal, and then we undertake the project as per the proposal, and finally we prepare the project report and submit it. So these are the different steps of a project. That first of all we have to have a topic that we are going to work on. I'll be discussing after some time how to think of a topic. What are the areas from where we can take help while thinking of a topic? Because again I have seen that this is one of the most difficult parts of a project. The thinking of a topic, generally students find it difficult to think of a topic on which they can work on. I'll be providing you certain tips which would help you to really think of a topic. Once you have thought of a topic, you have to prepare a proposal for your project. Proposal is also called the synopsis that you prepare. So you prepare a synopsis, means it is a blueprint of your project. How you are going, what you are going to do, how you are going to do. It is a detailed step-by-step approach towards your project. That is what is called the proposal. And once you have made this blueprint for your project, you really undertake this project as per your blueprint, as per your proposal, as per your synopsis. And finally, once you have undertaken it very meticulously, you finally present it in the form of a project report. What you have done, you report it, and that is what is called the project report. and this is the final thing that you have done. It is to be submitted, and after submission, in case of PGD-LAN, you have to face a viva voce also, not in case of MLIS. In the viva voce, you will be asked questions by the examiner regarding what you have done, how you have done. It could be any question regarding your project. So I will advise you that you be very clear about what you have done, why you have done, how you have done. Then only you will be able to really benefit from what you have done. So this is regarding the summary of how. Now I will start with the first, that is thinking of a topic. There I will take up certain topics and I'll tell you. So whether a topic can be a topic of your project. I will help you out that there are certain criteria which you can keep in mind to say whether your topic can be topic of your project or not. Like for example, one, if your topic is an analysis or critical study of an existing system, an existing operation or an existing service that is done in a library or information center. Like you be very clear that we are saying it has to be analysis or critical study. It should not be merely a description. I would like to caution you here. Generally what happens, student merely describe the systems, services, procedures, operations of libraries and information systems. If it is so, then it cannot be a project. It has to be a analysis, it has to be a critical study, then only it can be a topic. Number two, point number two, if you see, you find it is design of a system, operation, service. I have put in brackets, it has to be on a small scale. Why on a small scale? See, when you think of a topic, it has to be viable. The viability of the topic is very important. When I say viability, viability means that you are able to carry it out at your level in the time that is allocated to you. It is not that you think of, like I have seen certain project proposals that student gives. They say, I am going to prepare a network of libraries. I am trying to prepare a network for certain libraries in, let's say, academic or any other. It is not viable for you at this stage to prepare a network or think of a network. You can do a critical study of a network, or you can design a service at a smaller scale. Then it can be viable. So this is another. Then I have noted down here specifically, as I was discussing, it should not be merely a description. It should involve work that enables you to practically work with technology. If it is a technology based topic, it should not be merely description. Again, it should allow you to work with technology. Then only it can be a topic worth a project. Now these are the points that you should keep in mind. If you think of a topic, you try to analyze, you try to put it on these criteria. If your topic is okay as far as these criteria is concerned, if your topic passes the tests that these criteria have laid down, then you can feel safe. Your topic is worth a topic for a project. Now I will tell you some topics as examples, but again I would like to advise you, please just do not take these topics. These topics that I am enumerating here are just to help you to have an idea of what sorts of topics generally people take or can take. So I have again enumerated some topics here just for your help. Like it could be automation of circulation section of a library. You just are taking one section and how to automate this particular section. You may even design a software module for this. Similarly, or any other section, it could be serials control. Also it is a process that you are doing. You could create a software module for this. Or it could be developing a software module for library cataloging. Similarly, you could be designing computerized SDI services in a library. This could be another topic. Or it could be mining of information through search engines. This is another topic that you could take. Or you could design a web page for an organization. For this could be for your school or college or university or whatever organization you are working in. Or if you are not working in an organization, you could still think of some organization that you know very well, then you could design a page for this. Because why I am saying this, because when you design a web page for an organization, you should have information about that organization, then only you will put all that information on your web page and it will be really useful for your organization also. Similarly, you could take a particular software and do a critical study of the software. Here I would like to caution you that when you study a particular software, you do a critical study, you study each and every module, you prepare some tables, you prepare some databases and also put them in your project report. That shows that you have really worked with that project. Similarly, it could be an online public access catalog and this could be an evaluative study of an online. Again, I am stressing here that an evaluative study is to be undertaken, because generally people do a descriptive study that is not suitable for this. Similarly, you could design a SDI bulletin for a library using some software. That again you have to give examples, you have to have databases here if you really want to show this. Similarly, I had told you earlier that it could be web page of an organization, or it could also be comparative study of web pages of different organizations. It could also be hosting a bibliography, like generally we used to do bibliography. Now it could be a bibliography, or it could be a creating a web-based information system, or it could also be providing web-enabled information services. It could be a case study of library automation in an organization, or you prepare a list of web resources in a specific field. It could be free online journals, it could be automation in some particular libraries, it could be a status survey, it could be a study of different packages, or usage of e-resources in some libraries. These are certain theoretical topics, but while you do these, you see that you are very up to date in this. You are including most of the literature which is recent in this, like digital library, just-in-time libraries. It could be e-resources and services in a library. It could be use of e-journals, collection, development and management of e-resources, or rationale for e-resources sharing. Before we come to tips, we have just seen the different topics. There could be some traditional topics that you could think of, because generally that the topics that I have listed here I had limited to automation, but you could also do comparative study of services provided by two libraries in two different organizations. Here again I would like to stress that most of our MLI students, when they give this topic, they take one library only. We have made it a point that at least it should be a comparative study of two different libraries. Some students opt for theoretical topics like comparative study of two different classification schemes. If you are doing such a topic, you should give ample examples. You should also discuss certain gray areas where you find it is difficult. For that, I would suggest to you that when you do such a theoretical study, you can go and discuss with some such people who are using these schemes and try to find out certain areas which could be of interest and you would like to highlight in your project. Similarly, some of the students have been thinking of topics and putting them across in the form of synopsis, like resource sharing and networking. This has been a topic that is generally given by students, but there is not much scope for you to do here anything. Therefore, it is better that you discuss and study certain networks or you do a evaluative study of a library which has entered into resource sharing and how it has benefited the library. You could give some statistics and data regarding cost effectiveness or the benefits that the users and library has felt after entering into a network or a consortium. So the main point that I would like to stress here is, while you are thinking of a topic, you try to find out how it is going to help you in learning certain new things, as well as your users, how you are going to benefit the users or the organizations for which you are doing the study. It should involve some creative efforts also on your part. That is why I said it should not be merely a description. When I say creative efforts, I mean to say that description has to be a part of it, but besides description, you do ample survey of literature, and also if you get a chance, you do some field work also. And the other is, as I have been stressing, that you do some work, you practically handle technology. Technology means you create some databases, you use some software packages, you do a critical study of the software packages, or you do some content development, or you do some comparative study of different content pages. So that gives you a chance of really handling it practically. Because theoretically you are doing in your other courses, but what you have done there, you do it practically here or do a comparison of the things that will give a real good shape to your project. Now I would like to come to certain tips that I would like to give you for your projects. These are very important to do a good project, that form the base of a good project. Like 1, scan literature and e-resources that pertain to your topic. When I say scan literature, it starts from research. You start studying literature regarding what is research, how research is done, what are the different tools for research, which tools to be used in which situation, which tools are not suitable for a particular situation, what is a sample, how is sampling done, what should be the sample size. You should also see literature regarding different areas in library and information science. For that, you can see some professional journals that you can lay your hands on. I would not say that you devote a time that you are not able to devote time to other things. You divide your time and devote some time to some such studies also, because that maybe these studies are on a larger scale, but that gives you an idea to do some such study at a lower scale and continue it later and do some such projects later on. So it could be a continuation, and finally you could do some such research later on that topic. Similarly, you study some certain existing systems, procedures, routines or services in some other libraries and information centers. That also gives you an idea of selecting a topic or doing a research work. You could also discuss certain areas that are in your mind with your fellow professionals, fellow learners, or even your teachers and your counselors. But again, as I told to you earlier, that it should not be merely that you feel that they will feed you and give you certain areas and topics. No. After you have done your study, after you have scanned the resources, after you have gone through the literature and you have made up your mind, then you should discuss. So these are some tips. Now I come to the proposal. After you have finalized your topic, after going all through this, you prepare a proposal. Proposal, as I told you, is a step-by-step guide of what you are going to do, how you are going to do. As I told you earlier also, it is a blueprint of your project. It is a map of your journey from visualization to the completion of your project. So it is very important, when you prepare your proposal, be very sure that you know each and every aspect of your project. If the proposal is well done, it is almost half done. If the proposal is not properly prepared, you are not clear about your project, the problems start beginning from here itself. So I would stress that devote some ample time on preparing of your project proposal. We see when we get certain proposals, it is 1 page or 2 page, and the things that have been put there in the proposal are done very half-heartedly. The student is not clear of what the student is going to do. At times we even see that the project proposal has different names of the titles of your projects at different places. This shows that you have not devoted efforts that are required on your part. At times I have also come across a project where the name of the guide was also different at 2 different places in the project proposal. So again, these are all indicators that you are not very seriously preparing your project proposals. Be very serious about preparing your project proposal. So after this, I would like to come to the structure of the project proposal. Again, it has to be very standardized. It should start with the title, then you come to the introduction. In the introduction, you provide a background to your topic or your study, and then you come to the objectives. I would like to stress here, when I say the objectives means objectives of your study. Like a person is doing automation of a particular library, the person states objectives of automation. No, it has to be objectives of your study. So generally I find this mistake is done by people. Then you come to methodology. Methodology consists of objectives, input, then the process starts from the input, output, and finally the tools that you have used, the platforms, etc. Then the output and tentative chapterization and the limitations, if any, of your project. I would like you to be very considerate of these points. You have to remember that when you prepare your project proposal, you have to be very clear, very precise. That means not to use extra sentences when you could convey with the minimum of it. You have to be very step by step in approach. You have to state the truth, even your limitations. This is very important. Generally we don't do that. Another thing that is very important for project work is that we generally do not remember, and that is why there are certain areas which are very weak in our project, and these are time management is very important in a project. You first of all, before initiating your work, you really try to allocate the time that you are going to devote to different parts of your project. And it starts with thinking of your topic. Then after you have thought of your topic, the time that you are going to devote to your review of literature, the time you are going to devote for collecting data, the time you are to devote for analysis of the data, and similarly writing the project report, different chapters, how much time you are going to take. So you have to give enough time for your guide also to go through all these. Generally what happens, the student takes the project on the final day and asks the guide to sign it. He doesn't have time, this is the last date, or comes to the faculty that, sir, my project is about to be finished, my guide is out of station, can I submit without the guide signing? These are all very practical things that are happening, and I am telling you, I am very sure it is because of the reason that we have not managed our time properly. This is a project. A project has different parts, and these different parts have to be appropriately timed. The time schedule is very important. If you see the next point, as I have discussed also while discussing this, we have to prepare a work schedule. The work schedule has to be there, and it has to be in black and white. It has to be in your mind also, but put it in writing and try to check your work schedule almost every day. That gives you an idea. And if you see the next point, I have again stressed it that you stick to your work schedule. 100% sticking is not possible to the work schedule, but if you stick to it, you have a chance of doing it in time, doing it well. Then again, as I have mentioned, if you see the next point, you allocate your time to different phases of the project. At times you have allocated certain amount of time, but you may be taking a little more or little less. That doesn't matter, but it should be plus minus 10% only, not more than that. Have regular interaction with the guide. This is also very important, because again, when you go to your guide at the last moment, the guide may not be able to suggest many things here and there. Otherwise also it may not be possible for you also to incorporate all those suggestions. So keep a time schedule with your guide also. Make it a point that you have regular meetings with your guide at different stages of the project, so that all the parts of your project are equally solid, are equally good, so that you do not leave loopholes here and there. So that is possible only if you have regular interaction with the guide. Monitor your progress also. This is very important, that you have to monitor your progress. That gives a solidity to your project work. Once you have done all that, I would like to come up to the structure of your project report. Again, it is a very standard thing, because you should not deviate from this structure. Research is a very standardized process, and again, when you present your research in the form of a project report, it should consist of the following. Number one, title of the project. It starts with that. Then the introduction, objectives, methodology. You mention here the tools that you have used, the environment in which you have worked, the flow charts of the processes. In case you have done some software, then program code, output screens. Then you come to your observation, the analysis of the observation. Here, again, I would like to stress here, when you are presenting your observations, put it in the form of tables and charts neatly drawn. Again, in project reports we have seen people give observations in the form of tables and charts, but you know, again, if you see some standard books, you will come to know what is the structure of a table. Where do you put a table number? How do you put a chart number? In what types of statistics should you use different types of charts, bar diagram, or it should be a pie chart? What should be done in which situation? It is very important. Otherwise, it doesn't really put your ideas properly. Then the analysis. In this you will use some statistical techniques. You may even use a software statistical package like the SPSS you have, or even MS Access, or any other that you may use. Then you come to your findings. It is again on the basis of your data. And finally the conclusions. In the conclusions, it is based on the data that you have collected, the observations that you have done, and also it could be on the basis of review of literature. You could provide a comparison with what others have done. There has to be a very well framed bibliography. It could be at the end of each chapter as well as at the end. And again, you have been taught all that in different courses also, that when you put the references, you have to connect with the text that you have put inside. How do you connect the reference with the text inside? That is very important. Whenever you state certain facts, naturally it has to be on the basis of some standard sources. That is all there in references. Besides that, the final bibliography, and then there has to be appendices at the end. The appendices would consist of your questionnaires or any other facts that you would like to present. Hurriedly, I would like to tell you that there are certain dates that you have to remember, though these have been mentioned in your program guide as well as project guide, but still I would like to tell you, because people do not stick to this schedule. The dates are: for proposal submission, for PGD-LAN it is 30th April or 30th September in 2 different cycles. And you give us 1 month time, we will approve. Though it is a little too much on our, it is not that much of time that we take. We generally make it a point that we send it within a week or so, but still we make it 1 month, that it is 31st May or 31st October. Accordingly, we send the approval of the proposals. And finally, the submission of report has to be done by 30th September or 31st March in case of PGD-LAN. And Viva VOS will be conducted either in January or July. Similarly, for MLIS, it has to be submitting the proposal by 28th February, approval by 28th March, submission of report by 30th June or 30th November. So these dates are also very important. If you do not submit within these dates, naturally your results will be declared late. So Again, the importance of time and sticking to the time schedule. We caution you well in advance when you are just inducted into the program. We send this all in the form of program guide, project guide, and we constantly keep telling you when you submit your synopsis and other things. We make it, our endeavor is that you do a good project. We are always there to help you out. In case of any doubts, you are always welcome. All our email IDs are with you. Whenever you have any question, we try to solve it. We try to send the replies as soon as possible. Thank you, and I hope you will try to follow all these and provide a good project. Thank you. Best of luck.